Arab and Muslim leaders gathered in Saudi Arabia for an extraordinary joint Islamic-Arab summit in an attempt to exert its influence to press the United States and Israel to end the hostilities in Gaza. Leaders, including the Iranian president, have strongly condemned Israel's bombardment of the enclave. And in the latest, the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, used the platform of the summit to address the world. Abbas called for attention on the intensifying humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip.
يتعرض شعبنا الفلسطيني لأبشع عدوان وحشي بل لحرب إبادة لا مثيل لها على يد آلة الحرب الإسرائيلية الجبانة التي انتهكت الحرمات والقانون الدولي الإنساني وتخطت كل الخطوط الحمراء في قطاع غزة بقتل وجرح أكثر من 40,000 من المدنيين الفلسطينيين غالبيتهم من الأطفال والنساء والشيوخ.
Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi called on Arab and Islamic world leaders to designate Israel's military a terrorist organization. In his first visit to Riyadh since Iran and Saudi Arabia agreed to restore ties in March, Raisi urged nations that have ties with Israel to sever them and called for a greater support for Palestinians. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has called on for support from Islamic nations, saying that Gaza is not an arena of words but actions.
این میدان دیگه میدان سخن تنها نیست که فقط سخن و اعلام موضع بشه. باید میدان عمل باشه و اقدام.
Echoing what the Iranian president stated, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad called for countries to stop normalization talks with Israel as well.
هي أن الكيان ازداد إيقاف أي مسار سياسي مع الكيان الصهيوني بكل ما يشمله المسار السياسي من عناوين اقتصادية أو غيرها لتكون عودته مشروطة بالتزام الكيان بالوقف الفوري المديد لا المؤقت للإجرام بحق كل الفلسطينيين في كل فلسطين مع السماح بإدخال المساعدات الفورية إلى غزة. أما الحديث عن الدولتين وإطلاق عملية السلام وغيرها من التفاصيل والحقوق.
Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman denounced attacks on Gaza and he reiterated his stance during the Riyadh summit, calling for an end to violence in Gaza.
الرحمن الرحيم أصحاب الفخامة كامل ومن هذا المنطلق يسرنا أن نعلن عن إطلاق مبادرة خادم الحرمين الشريفين وأن ندين ما يشهده قطاع غزة من اعتداء عسكري واستهداف المدنيين واستمرار انتهاكات سلطة الاحتلال الإسرائيلية للقانون الدولي الإنساني لنؤكد ضرورة وقف هذه الحرب والتهجير القسري وتهيئة الظروف لعودة الاستقرار وتحقيق السلام في أفريقيا وذلك عبر تدشين مشروعات وبرامج مائية في دول القارة بقيمة تتجاوز $1 مليار على مدى 10 سنوات.
The joint meeting has been convened in response to the exceptional circumstances taking place in Gaza, and earlier 2 separate meetings were scheduled over the weekend, one of Arab League and one of OIC members, but now it has been combined. The Arab nations are divided between normalizing ties with Israel and condemning the humanitarian crisis which has unfolded in Gaza. And as per reports, Arab foreign ministers who held an emergency meeting on Thursday were divided as some countries, led by Algeria, called to cut all diplomatic ties with Israel. Earlier, we spoke to Mr. Leston Munson, who is a senior fellow, National Security Institute, and he joined us live from Washington, D.C. over Hamas using hostages as bargaining chips and the developments on that front amid the climbing tensions of the war. Listen in.
Hope that there are some positive developments on the hostage front, but let's be very, very realistic here. Hamas put its headquarters under a hospital for a reason. It is willing to use human shields to achieve its military ends, including not just hostages from Israel, but also innocent Palestinians as human shields here. This strategy of hiding behind innocent babies, really, in these hospitals is now coming to a head in Gaza. And so Israeli officials, I think, are working very hard to get as many patients out of those hospitals as possible before the fighting really intensifies. The Hamas headquarters is buried deep beneath that hospital for a reason. This is Hamas's entire strategy. I don't really see them abandoning it anytime soon, unless they absolutely have to. So I have to say, I'm not very optimistic about progress on the hostage front.